Well, when you go teach, I'm just, I'm not, I'm going to throw this out there because I think this is probably the case. Many of these parents are so overwhelmed that they're, they don't, they want very simple, kind of concrete, tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a simple one thing to do or two things.
Yeah.
And I think one of the hardest balancing acts is hearing them, hearing that, I understand you feel that you're like this, it's completely understandable. And then calming them to the point where they can actually feel a little regulated themselves. And I didn't really say this, but one of the things that's really important about getting your cortex open is that the cortex is a part of the brain that can tell time.
Oh, yeah.
And hope, your ability to be hopeful, is up in the cortex. And so the more dysregulated a parent gets, the less hopeful they will become.
Mm-hmm.
And the more they'll be focused on the immediate. I want him to do this. We have to solve these problems soon. But if you can regulate a parent or somebody or a teacher and help them understand that this is a process, that they may be 15, but they're developmentally like a 4-year-old. And if you kind of meet them, if you have expectations that you would have of a normal 4-year-old, they'll be able to meet those expectations. Yeah. And you'll have more positive experiences, and you'll get on sort of a virtuous cycle where the more the child feels like they've done something well, the more likely they're going to try again. And this is what we find with so many of these kids, is that they've failed at so many things.
Yeah.
That they don't even want to try.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a heartbreaking thing, I think. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's that is one of the reasons that I started to organize. I call it inspiration days, because I am a mother myself of a traumatized child. But what I want is to get parents together. I know a little bit more than they do. I share a little bit, but what I want to do is that they can give each other a cuddle, and you're in it just like me, and I am not crazy. Very often they walk in the room and they say, oh, it's normal people in here. They think that, when you have a traumatized kid, you must be a very, very bad parent. And that was also one of the reasons that I said, you know what, I'm going to go into publicity. And, this is me, this is my family, because I was so lonely. If you, at one point, as a mother of a traumatized child, you're so isolated because you can't go anywhere with your kid because you have a funny kid. And if you have a funny kid, I wrote it in my book that when you have a funny kid, you're funny too. And if your kid doesn't have play dates, you're not going to have friendships. So it's so big for a whole family and a whole system when you have a traumatized kid. Yeah. And I think that needs to change too, because I felt for so many years I'm the worst mom in the world. My child doesn't like me. She cannot even hold me. I had to wait like 13 years to hold her hand. And I thought I was the only one, and I think that should change. That the parents, and I want to tell them when they watch this video, it's not your fault, and it's nobody's fault, and there's hope. That's what I want to share and spread.
And there is hope, and I think it's interesting. There are parents who have kids that are well regulated, for whatever reason, whether it's genetic or they had a great combination of genetics and intrauterine, and who knows. But even a relatively impaired parent can look very competent if the child has sort of one of these well-regulated temperaments. I've been that parent of, I've got 5 kids. Now they're all adults, but when our first child was like really one of these incredible kids, right? And so I'm thinking, oh, we're so good at parenting. And then our second child was like, I love her, but oh my God, it was, she was so, nothing we did with the oldest child worked with the second child. And she was always dysregulated. And we thought, wow, we're shitty parents. Like, And neither one of those were true, right? We weren't great and we weren't terrible.
Yeah.
We were just average parents.
Yeah, yeah.
But what you're saying is absolutely true. As a parent, you feel shamed
Oh,
if your child isn't doing well. And it becomes an inhibition to reaching out for help for you. And it really collapses the world of your family, right? So you just don't, yeah.
But the thing is also that if your child has diabetes, another kind of disease, you don't see it, but everybody's like, oh, shall I cook dinner? Can I take care of you? But if your child has a mental challenge,
Right.
Everybody steps back.
Yeah.
And I sometimes told people, my child was in the institute for 2 years. Oh, but she's always so nice. Yeah, to you. But when she's in the home, she sometimes has meltdowns for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was just like very, very hard for people. Like I am now on the other side, you know. I had the opportunity to get all the knowledge and I had to quit working. I had a nice job, but I stopped working to be there for the kid, my daughter. But a lot of parents don't have that freedom and opportunity.
Exactly.
Life is a struggle. And I feel like we have so much money in Holland to spend. Spend it on when they're young. I think, because I look at your videos all the time, and you also say every dollar spent before a certain age is 10 times more when they are in puberty. They don't look like that towards 8 for the kids.
Yeah, you know, it's, you know, one of the things I think that's very positive about what you're doing is the destigmatizing of all of these issues. You know, people are fearful of what they don't understand. And so I think the more people like you help educate the public and your peers about what these issues are and what they aren't, I think the next generation of parents will have it easier. But it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of a lot of public engagement to destigmatize these concepts. There are people, you know, mental health globally. You know, it's probably the number one draw on any economy is depression, anxiety. You know, just like your example, you had to quit the workforce to deal with the mental health issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they monetize all of this stuff, it's actually, of all the diseases there are, mental health issues are by far the largest drain on any Western society's economy. And so I think, again, in my lifetime, I've seen things shift a little bit, but we have a long way to go. And so I think what you're doing is really important.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's not easy, because sometimes when I go in like a magazine for an interview, people have a very strong opinion about what I do. And it's sometimes hard for my family. But I'm like, this is my mission in life. This is what I have to do.